Hello, and welcome to the Greater Good video course on how to become a social entrepreneur. I'm Maggie Langrick, CEO and publisher at Wonderwell. I just want to pivot into talking for a second about books and our publishing mission, and specifically, the book that you wrote and that we have published. Um, here at Wonderwell, we know that books are one of the most powerful tools for getting the message out or a methodology, and getting it out there in a really big way where it can change lives. We know that if you're giving a talk, that's amazing. You can raise a lot of energy that way, or a consultation session. You can deliver a lot of value to a person in that 1 hour. But when you write a book, that reader is going to sit and curl up with your words for 15 to 20 hours, and can come back to what you've written again and again. So you have a chance to go really deep into your subject and give your reader some very detailed instructions or insights, that you hope will stay with them for a really long time. And that's a tall order. That is hard to do. In my line of work, I meet so many incredible everyday people who want to make an impact, by publishing a book as like the one that you've done. And sometimes, similarly to identifying as an entrepreneur, they might struggle to identify as an author or aspiring author, and wonder if they could ever really pull it off. So my question to you is, what led you to write this book? And double-ended question. And has it changed the way that you see yourself, or your experience, already, in your life and in your work?
It has so much, Maggie. And so it's interesting that I always observe that we teach what we need to learn. And what I mean by that is, talking so much about the, transformation and identity and stuff in the book, I had to do that myself in terms of becoming an author. I had to do that in terms of becoming an entrepreneur. I was did a bunch of stuff beforehand. So, um, but the book is really the culmination of a very long career. So, in my case, 28 years as a social entrepreneur, and I found myself over time, on a very practical level, I get asked the same questions again and again and again. About my career. How did I create these entities? How did I navigate certain kinds of situations? Those types of things. So very practical questions, but also people really curious about, what does it actually mean to essentially dedicate your life to I don't know, a mission, a purpose, a calling. And so I wanted to really tell that story, not just my own story, but also that of my peers and colleagues, because stories are what's memorable. You only have time for so many stories in an hour, as you say, in a presentation. And whereas with a book, you can come back to it and there's themes, weaving through things. And I really wanted to give people a message about the value of emotion and intuition and kind of non-traditional ways of looking at business that don't really fit into a PowerPoint presentation and don't, just aren't part of that. And the book is very deeply personal to me as well. So there's this notion of legacy in terms of, the career, what Suzanne, my business partner, and I have built here with the Isle. As well as just my personal journey. So it was a combination of a whole bunch of, wanting to offer something very practical, but wanting to also just kind of the word legacy is probably the best summation of it for me. And I would add too that having the partnership with Wonderwell was really what made it possible for me. I think a big message of the book is not doing things alone, and that you don't have to. You probably don't have the skill, and it's just easier and more fun to build things in community. And so that made a huge difference too. And in terms of the benefits, like it's incredible. People are really impressed when you write a book. I've gotten I'm oh my goodness, keynoting at the University of Massachusetts, Duke University, Queen's University here in Canada. Like it just sort of makes a big difference in certain people's eyes. And I know, most people have enough knowledge or passion about something to write a book. I think we just need to give ourselves permission to do it and get some help.
Well, that's awesome. I'm so glad that you did. And thank you so much for this first video. In the next one, we're going to be diving into vision, how to identify it and how to articulate it. Thanks, Madeline.